Alrighty, here we go. Mr. Gavin back. We're going to continue with practicing some parts of speech and really focusing in on them. This week we're going to focus on interjections. You guys know in the past we've been taking it kind of week by week and really focusing on each part of speech because they're important not only for 7th grade but definitely the future. You're never going to not see them as you progress through school. So we're going to really focus in on interjections, okay? How they're used, what's the importance of them, how they bring out emotion within sentences and help make your writing more creative and painting a picture in the reader's head, right? Okay, so we're going to dive into interjections today. First off, what is an interjection? Okay, you always got to start off there and ask yourself, what is an interjection? What is the purpose of an interjection and why should I use it? An interjection is a word that is added to a sentence to convey emotion or show sounds. So if we want to make our writing better, or if the author in which we're reading a story wants to make their writing come to life, they're going to use interjections to really convey the emotion that they want portrayed in that particular sentence or part of the story. Okay, if we want to show something that is exciting, that's something that is gross, something that is bad, someone who is happy, okay, oftentimes we'll use interjections to show those emotions or show those sounds that are happening. Okay, and obviously we know an interjection is one of our 8 parts of speech that we've really been hammering throughout this year so far. Okay, interjections are not grammatically related to any other part of the sentence. Okay, what that means is you'll notice sometimes when an interjection at the beginning or at the end of a sentence, it often stands alone. They throw an exclamation point at the end of them and it's just standing by itself. There is where it comes into play where it's not grammatically related to any other part of the sentence, correct? Because it does not have a noun or technically a verb in there, so it's not technically a sentence on its own, but these interjections are kind of an exception to the grammar rules, I guess you would say, because oftentimes they do have an exclamation point following them to express that emotion. Okay, read down here, it says they are uncommon in formal academic writing except in direct quotations. They most often show emotion or excitement. Definitely, we often see them when people are speaking, when it says this part of direct quotation marks. In our writing, when someone says, wow, that was awesome, or wham, the ruler hit the desk in Mr. Gavin's classroom. Okay, those are expressing sounds or emotions, and those are found when people are often speaking in that particular part of the paragraph or the sentence. Okay, those are often surrounded by direct quotations. Not all the time, but in academic writing, if you are going to use it, it needs to be formal. You should have that in quotations, right? Because it's not grammatically correct. And we'll talk about that more as we go through examples in your practice today. Continuing forward, usually an exclamation point follows an interjection, like I stated before. They are often set off separately from complete sentences, and you'll see that in your examples. You'll have your example of your interjection. There will be some sort of punctuation. Oftentimes it is an exclamation, as you see down here, to separate that from the actual sentence. Okay, let's take a look at our example down here that I provided for you guys. Awesome, our team won the game. That is expressing the emotion right there. And you'll see that this is not a complete sentence by itself, but it does have an exclamation point to express that emotion. Therefore, it is an interjection. Notice how it is separate from the rest of this sentence, but goes along with this sentence as well. Awesome, our team won the game. Okay, getting the whoever is reading that excited about the game or that particular event that is going on in that sentence. All right, we'll take a look at this second one down here. Hey, don't tease me. You can hear the expression in my voice as I read those, and that's what they are meant for. Okay, when you see those exclamation points, when you see those interjections placed in those sentences or story, the reader wants you to read it with that emotion. Okay, they're trying to get that emotion across for you from an exciting part of the story. All right, so you can see how it's separate Awesome is separated from this part of the sentence, and hey is off on its own, separated from this part, just how it tells us up in our directions up here. They are often set off separately from the complete sentence. Here is your complete sentence, here is your complete sentence, and here are your examples of interjections. It is common interjections stand by themselves and show excitement or emotion. And here are just some other examples for you guys moving forward. Awesome, hey, no, yes, wow, yikes, yuck, oh no, holy cow, and hooray. Notice how I've said each one of those in kind of a different tone of voice, right? They don't always have to be happy or exciting. They could express some sort of disappointment or surprise in someone. For example, holy cow, right, can be an example of interjections, but it doesn't necessarily mean the person is excited about something. But then there often are awesome, yes, wow, and hooray. Okay, how about my example of yuck over here? Can express that something is gross coming after that, right? So they all can express a different emotion, but most of the time excitement is coming out of interjections. Some interjections that we often know and we get confused with in class on our onomatopoeia, right? Those are our figurative language, but we're talking about parts of speech here. They show sounds. Okay, notice these aren't actual words, okay, but they do show sounds. Ah, gur, yippee, ah, right? All of those we get confused with our onomatopoeia in our figurative language of creating sounds with our writing. But they are also interjections. I think that's where the mix-up kind of occurs most often, especially when we took our parts of speech test. Okay, but know that not also, going back to this last slide, that these are actual words, right? Most of them. Awesome is an actual word. Hey is an actual word. No and yes, right? But it can also show sounds with our interjections as well. Moving forward. Some interjections can actually be a part of a normal sentence, okay, though they're not related to any other words. So they don't always have to have that exclamation point or period after. They can join with the sentence as well, okay? So if I move back, I could actually put a comma after awesome right here instead of the exclamation point. Awesome, our team won the game. And that's going to be your examples right here. Notice how each and every one of them have a comma after them. So that is also more grammatically correct if you're going to put it in a sentence without direct quotations. Ouch, I stubbed my toe on the end of the table. Okay, you can just offset it with a comma instead of separating it into entirely different parts. Okay, and you'll see that in our practice today as well. Why should we use interjections in our writing? Here's some reasons why we should. You notice the thumbs up right here. Obviously, you want to use them to express your strong feelings. Okay, if it's a mild feeling, you'd probably just want to use a comma. Notice how up here the exclamation wants you to say it with some excitement. Down here, the interjection is offset with a comma. So it probably just wants to portray a mild feeling instead of something so exciting. And also another one is to show hesitation. Someone, a character in a story might be saying, do you want that last bite? Notice my hesitation in there is another good way to use an interjection properly. Okay, so those are good examples on different ways we could use interjections in our own writing. Another few examples for you are to express surprise. Okay, we know that. A good one we might often use is to show confusion. Huh? I don't get it. Huh would be your interjection as is highlighted here. Notice it has a question mark instead of an exclamation point after that, right? Because it's leading into a question. I don't get it. I am confused about something. And last but not least, to show outrage. No, you can't do that. Okay, this one is showing some sort of anger. And when we say emotion, once again, it does not always have to be happiness or excitement. It could be any sort of emotion that you want to portray in your writing. And how can you use can't read today. How can using interjections help you? Okay, we use them to communicate your ideas clearly. If you want to get an idea across real clear in your writing, a great time to use an interjection. You also use them to demonstrate you have control over your writing. Okay, you are in control in your own voice and style of your writing. However you want the reader to read your writing is what words and parts of speech you're going to use within your writing. Okay, and finally to make your writing more exciting and fun to read. Okay, having interjections within your writing makes it fun for the reader, makes it fun to even write and to express that emotion. Okay, we all have something we want to express inside of us. We want to get out that feeling that we're feeling while we're writing, and we want to give it to the reader, right? So we want to make our writing more exciting and fun to read. So we will use interjections at the right time. What do we think of authors or writers who don't use interjections? I know it's not often. We don't always need interjections. I did throw a thumbs down there because I like using them, because I want the writing and your guys' writing to be exciting. Okay, I want you guys to have fun with it. Oftentimes I threw this in there. They do not proofread, not necessarily all the time, but if you go back, there's always probably some place in your writing that you can throw an interjection to make it more exciting. Okay, so if you go back and proofread your writing, there's probably some place in there an interjection would be useful and beneficial to make your writing better. Not often lazy, that's the best way I put it in here, but writing without interjections to me oftentimes is boring. Okay, also depends on the type of writing you are doing, but creative writing, definitely want to throw those interjections in there. And there's some other reasons why writers don't use interjections as well, and you can read through those. Okay, and to wrap up today, you guys keep asking me, why do we keep doing parts of speech so much? Well, knowing the parts of speech is important for a numerous amount of reasons. Okay, for pure knowledge, okay, and understanding how to use them, when to use them, identifying them in writing. You're going to need them for a future job, obviously for education you're in now, for clarity within your writing, and for communication. We use it most importantly. I really want to highlight this communication part because we use it in speaking a lot. We use it to get our point across to another person or to the reader. All right. So there is your PowerPoint today on interjections. You have that assignment in Schoology to complete, and you'll see it when you get there. But that's a great job today. I will see you next time.